Beautyrest is a tale full of some vile va-va-voom. Directed by Stephen Hopkins, written by Terry Black as Donald Longtooth again, shot by Rick Boda, and music by Alan Silvestri. Based on a story from the Vault of Horror number 35, drawn by Jack Kamen. Some of the best talent behind this show's camera returns to add some morbid makeup to this already jolting fable of jealousy. Helen finishes a screen test for a perfume commercial. The eccentric director loved her. The job is definitely hers. She doesn't get the job. Helen relents to her agent that she's tired of being passed up for parts for the past 10 years. She wants to know who got the part in the commercial instead. It went to Joyce, her roommate. Helen is jealous of Joyce, who always gets all the attention.
Why is it that every time somebody gets really close to casting me, you suddenly show up with your legs spread?
I have never done that!
During a heated argument, it comes out that Joyce carries a note from the guy she's dating that will lead her to victory at an upcoming beauty pageant.
Well, you know this guy I've been seeing for the past couple of weeks, Tom? Well, he's in charge of this beauty pageant. It's for some trade show or something. And, well, he's gonna make me the winner. See, he gave me this note and...
You make me sick. You make me so sick.
Helen, it's not what you're thinking. I really like this guy.
Is that what it says in the note?
No, the note's for the guy who's emceeing the pageant.
The comics Helen watches Joyce through their apartment window as she comes back from a night out with Mr. Boxer. Her date gives her a note to give to George tomorrow morning, and she'll be the guaranteed winner of the eventual beauty contest. Joyce enters the apartment and sees that Helen is still awake. Unlike in the show, this Helen hides her animosity towards her roommate. Joyce tells Helen the exciting news of her impending success, and shows her the letter stating, "Be sure the bearer of this note wins the contest. Tomorrow she will be Miss Corpse of 1954. Helen is puzzled by this allegedly prestigious title. Joyce explains the Undertakers and Embalmers Association is holding a convention, complete with a beauty contest for publicity. Joyce is excited for all the opportunities that will follow. She doesn't think she'll be able to sleep. The jealous Helen offers to fix Joyce some warm milk. She realizes the note simply says that its bearer will win. Helen pours a bottle of sleeping pills into Joyce's milk. The show's Helen passes off this exact same plan as an apology to Joyce for how she acted earlier. As Joyce nods off, she tells Helen about Mr. Boxer, how he won't be at the actual competition, but was easily sweet-talked into rigging the whole event in her favor. In the show, Helen chats Joyce up about what the winner of this new contest receives.
Do you get any money for winning this contest?
I think the winner gets, they get to be like the spokesperson for the company. Something like that, you know?
Oh, really? That's interesting. What's it for?
You know, I think I forgot to ask.
Joyce passes out, or at least Helen thinks she's passed out. Helen takes Joyce's note and then realizes what you and I already know. Joyce is dead. Helen stages a fake suicide for her roommate. Helen arrives at the convention and overhears a couple Undertakers talking about how they rip off the bereaved all the time. She asks for George, and they send her his way. She gives him Mr. Boxer's note. George will take care of everything. The beauty contest seems to be nothing more than a swimsuit competition, and not shocking at all, Helen is announced as the winner. She is now Miss Corpse 1954. The show seems to hide the identities of those sponsoring the contest, which is a lot more involved than the comic.
The pageant begins with a review of the contestants, and then we do the ball gowns, and then the swimsuits, and then the interviews, and then the judging.
Well, who exactly is judging this?
A panel of experts,
Excuse
of
me.
course.
I'm sorry. Are you George?
That's right. And you are?
Actually, if I could talk to you privately for just a moment.
George takes the note, and another contestant, Drusilla, begins to suspect the scheme. Helen gets a taste of her own words, and she doesn't like them.
I know you slept with Tom so you could win this thing.
Look, it's not what you think.
She also gets a tease as to what her win will have in store for her.
I was wondering, when I become the company spokesmodel, what exactly will I be selling?
Well, more than anything else, you'll be selling yourself. Who you are inside.
That's really poetic.
The contest is in full swing, and her question isn't the typical shallowness you would expect at these things.
Tell us then, Helen, in your life, what is the one thing you feel most guilty about doing, and why did you do it?
Helen is a little put off by the lack of photographs being taken. She was expecting newspaper coverage, but that will all be later tonight at the awards ceremony. She's given the address and goes home to get ready. Helen is already bragging to Joyce as she walks through the door. This is where the comics Helen discovers her roommate's demise. She wipes her fingerprints clean off any evidence of her wrongdoing and reports a suicide to the cops. The scot-free Helen arrives at the address of the awards ceremony. George presents her to the rest of the undertakers and embalmers, including Mr. Boxer. Helen is questioned about what happened to Joyce. She was supposed to be the winner, but Helen tells him she couldn't make it to the competition. Too bad for Helen, everyone in the room draws their scalpels. Miss Corpse of 1954 must be an actual corpse. After the contest, George meets with Helen backstage. He informs her the note she gave him never existed, and the results are out of his hands. She suspects Drusilla, who admits to threatening George with sexual harassment charges if she doesn't win. The rivalry between Helen and Drusilla reaches its head.
I know all about the note.
Look, there's something you don't understand. That note, it wasn't mine. I'm not that kind of girl.
Oh, yeah. So what kind of girl are you?
I'm this kind of girl.
With Drusilla out of the picture, George has Rudy work fast to get Helen ready for the grand finale. Helen is not liking the heavy makeup and feels uncomfortable with this kind of preparation. George gives her a little something to calm her down. Later, at the closing ceremony, George presents us with Helen, Miss Autopsy 1992. No need for judges here. Both versions of Beautyrest are worth seeking out. For a story centered around a beauty contest, I'm glad the episode took the time to add some showmanship that I don't think the comic could have given us with its allotted page count. The comic implies Joyce is sleeping around to get to the top, and without 1950s limitations, the show's Helen outright accuses her. Adding Drusilla to the mix forces Helen to reflect upon who she really is, and she embraces the darkest impulses that only the deepest jealousy could give her. After all the deceit and murder, we do technically get a happy ending. Helen simultaneously gets what she wants and what she deserves. Perhaps this is a more gruesome happy ending than most of us are used to, but as the episode states, it's what's on the inside that counts.
You're going to look just fine.